Hey folks, it's Josh, and I wanted to talk about sort of where I'm at with goals. Where to start? I've never been someone who sits down at the new year and writes out a bunch of goals. At the most, it's like 2 or 3 sort of themes that I want to sort of focus on for the year. I write them down somewhere, and I let them sort of guide me to some degree, but it's not like these sort of proper goals that are like, written out with defined target dates for completion and target results. It's more sort of, things like, connect more, read more, get more exercise. They're very sort of amorphous and broad, and that basically pretty much works for me. I think that usually at the end of the year when I look back, I have at least to a large degree accomplished what I had intended to do. So I don't really think that, it's suddenly windy and there's stuff flying around outside. But anyway, this year I kind of, and the past several years, I've really put most of my sort of energy and focus on professional and career related stuff. And I worked really hard at it, and I accomplished a lot, and I realized probably, I was coming to around November that I really have been sort of neglecting my personal self, and that I really wanted to make 2014 sort of a year that I'm going to sort of focus on stuff for me, and stuff for people who are really close to me, and sort of let work hang a little bit. It's work is work, and I go to work, and I do my work, and I do a good job. I'm good at my work, but let that sort of sit and do its thing, just go a little bit on autopilot, and channel more of my energy into sort of my own self and stuff that's going, and sort of complete my life, do things that I really want to do that I've kept putting off because I didn't have the money or I didn't have the time. Make the money, make this, set aside the money in the budget, set aside the time in my planner, just sort of. So, the other thing that was really interesting, I kind of felt like I needed a few sort of concrete goals. And one of the things that I sort of had, one of the directions I wanted to go in was to try some new stuff this year. And so I sort of landed some goals in that regard. One thing, we used to entertain a lot. We bought the house that we live in now almost 5 years ago, and since then have basically we've hardly, maybe 5 or 6 times we've had people over to this house. Usually not more than 3 or 4 people at a time. And so a few things I wanted to have dinner parties again. I sort of started off with do one per month, but then I was that's a little fast to start with. I've got a lot of other stuff that I want to do, so I sort of have loosened that into one per quarter. But I also added I want to do at least one party this year. So that not only will the party will address doing a party, I think will be fun. Get a lot of people over that we haven't seen in a long time, sort of rekindle some relationships. It will also give me some motivation to finish a laundry list of household chores that have been sitting, festering for years now, that just sort of get them done, because I'll want them done before people come over. And I think part of the reason why we stopped entertaining is because the house is just not done. It's not pulled together, it doesn't feel settled, and I think both of us don't really want anybody to see the house this way. So, but anyway, a big thrust of my focus for the year is little things, and I'll just go over them with you. I wrote them in my plannerisms planner. I wrote down some things that I want to do every day that I think I'm going to track in this planner. One of them was just do it. I procrastinate like crazy. I think that what I want to do for this coming year, when I'm procrastinating, I want to sort of stop and look at what the thing is and figure out why I'm procrastinating. If I'm procrastinating because I don't actually really want to do it, if I don't have to do it, I'll just take it off my list. It's like I don't need to do it, so it doesn't matter. If I'm at work, I'll try to, I'll look at those things and I'll think about it. Is it possible to delegate it to somebody else? There's always going to be stuff that I don't want to do that I have to do, but in that intersection where I have the choice, I want to sort of choose not to, if I don't want to do it. And if I do want to do it, but I'm afraid of it, or I don't know where to start with it, or it's just, I can't wrap my head around it, then I need to stop. Those are those challenges. That's where I want to just do it. Just get to it. Just start. Pick up something and do anything with the goal of doing that. Even if I don't get it done today, start working on it. And and I think every day I can just sort of write down did I do it today? Or did I do did I do a superb job of doing it today? Did I do a mediocre job of doing it today? But just write down how did I do with that? I can rank myself on that. So be punctual. This is mostly, I don't really care if I'm punctual, but I feel ashamed when I arrive late to things, especially when I do it over and over and over again. And it's something that I think it's related to procrastination. It's related to a lot of my time management issues. And I think that if I'm able to be punctual, I'll feel proud of myself. It means being punctual is kind of a larger thing for me, and I think that being punctual will be awesome. Be classy. And this sounds so silly, but it's I have an unfortunate habit. It's I complain too much. I talk shit about other people. And yeah, it's just I want to stop doing that. If something is not working well for me, I want to do something about it. I don't want to get riled up in other people's negative energy. And so I want to be classy. Think about every time I say something about somebody, think about is this something that I would say if they were sitting right next to me? And if it isn't, then I probably either shouldn't be saying it, or I should think about whether. Yeah, I need to sort of. Yeah, I want to really focus on that. That's kind of. It's something. Again, it's something that I think creates a certain amount of shame for me. Things pop out of my mouth that I say about other people that later on I just feel awful. And I don't want to feel awful about things. I want to feel good about things. I want to feel when it's most of the people that I encounter on a daily basis, I have a lot of respect for, and I want to sort of feel good about the fact that I respect people and not feel sort of awful about that thing that I popped out of my mouth that I said about them when I was frustrated about something. It's not constructive. So I wrote down seek passion. And that's mostly I struggle sort of, I'm having a lot of trouble as I've been trying to sort of write out goals. I've been having a lot of trouble identifying what it is that I love, what it is that I want, what it is that I feel good about. Somehow I've put up a lot of blocks around that stuff. So I wanted to just, look for seek things that really sort of make me feel good, that make me, things that sort of, that I can really become passionate about. And as I'm feeling passionate about things, notice it and tag it, sort of recognize, right now, I feel really strongly about this. this really does something for me. So every day I want to do something that I'm proud of. You see, these are all very sort of aspirational. Pretty self-explanatory. Do something that I'm proud of. And it can be something very simple. It does not need to be in any way like, I saved a child from a burning building or anything. It can be something like, honestly, I arrived at work today is something that can make me proud. So that's also, that's how bad my tardiness issue is. Be grateful. So I want to, acknowledge, sort of identify the stuff that I'm grateful for. Again, name it, acknowledge it, tag it, sort of live it for a moment. Laugh, that's easy. I laugh a lot anyway, but I think that, a good hearty laugh really makes me feel good. Do my routines. I identified a whole bunch. One of the things that I think, there are a lot of little things that I procrastinate on all the time, and I just made a list, and I'll share that with you if I get to it. Actually, I don't think I have it with me. But a lot of sort of housekeeping tasks and sort of personal things like, ironing and vacuuming and taking out the trash and stuff like that I put off, and that contributes to my tardiness issues because it's like I'm frantically trying to get out of the house, but there are so many things that I need to do before I leave that I haven't done. So just sort of figuring out ways. I made a list of like 10 things that I want to do every day, and just make sure that they get done every day. And then I also have a list of things that I want to do over the weekend, get those done, and then just rank myself. How did I do on that today? Every day I want to connect with somebody. So whether that's write a letter, make a phone call, chat with somebody online, exchange some text messages with somebody, whatever. I want to connect with somebody in a meaningful way every day, especially outside of work. I think that I chat with my colleagues quite a lot, but I want to really sort of focus on my personal relationships and really sort of developing those. I think that I have to do it every day because if I don't need to talk to everybody every day, but I have to connect with somebody every day. So, limit online time. Now, as much as I love the friends that I've made over the internet, some of the cool stuff that I find online, I'm like I often describe ADD as not really being a deficit of attention, but rather a surplus of curiosity. And the internet feeds that brilliantly. It's like anything that crosses my mind that I'm curious about, I can find out information about it. And that's awesome. But it's a black hole. It feeds into a lot of the, sort of my procrastination issues, my tardiness, my sort of, being unable to account for hours out of my day that I was online, but I wasn't really doing anything constructive while I was online. I was just sort of looking around for something that would spark my interest, but not really finding it. That's a waste of time. And I want to sort of, get more out of it by putting less time into it, if that makes sense. So it's just sort of, meter my online time, sort of ration it to myself. And I think if I'm doing everything else, I simply will not have as much time to just waste on the internet, but I wanted to be mindful of that every day. And then read. I used to read for probably 2 or 3 hours every single day of my life. And then, the internet came along, and that was sort of my internet. That was my black hole before the internet was reading. And but it's a different kind of thing, and I think that it's. I have a long list of books that I'd like to read, and I read a lot of nonfiction. And I read a lot of biographies. I have books, and I have books all over the house that I have been meaning to read for years. Some of them, and I just want to just like set it every day. Like, I think that I budgeted on my time map like 90 minutes every single day to read. And I want to really put that in, like, get that done. I can eat into that time a little bit, but I want to make sure that, like, at least pretty much like a solid hour every day to read. So those are my daily things. I have a bunch of other stuff. I want to, establish a comfortable, warm, and relaxed home. I have a list of stuff to accomplish that. I want to find and create passion in my life. I want to connect with people. I want to walk. I want to focus on my sleep cycle. I want to cook more. I want to explore my cookbook collection. I want to try new recipes. I actually put down target to try a new recipe every week. Really develop the routines that I was talking about. Read new books. I actually put a target to read a new book every week. I also reread a lot. Sort of favorites that I just sort of cycle through. Some books like I read every few years. Some books I actually read I reread them pretty much every year. And that's fine, but I want to make sure that I'm also reading new material to sort of so I can keep growing. I want to get my affairs in order. So these are things like write a will, kind of get my retirement account sort of straightened out, stuff like that. And that also involves sort of keeping all of my papers in order. So, somebody else can find information in them if they ever needed to, God forbid. So anyway, so those are kind of my big goals, and I've broken those out into lots of sort of concrete stuff using this book but I'm also going to list all of those like sort of daily things that I just went over in detail. Those are things that I actually want to list in these week columns. I think I'm just going to put the words down here, and I can actually sort of jot for each day like either a check mark or a word or a phrase that sort of captures how I feel about how I'm working, how I did with that day. So I think that that's the best use for this for me. And so it sort of will be my like evening meditation before I go to sleep or something. Kind of how did I do on these things? And they're not written in stone. If they need to get tweaked, if some new priorities come up throughout the year, that's fine. But this is what I'm going to start the year off with. And then the other project that I landed on, Raine of Lime Tree Fruits, put me on to this woman, Danielle LaPorte, who is not a relation of mine, but we had been going back and chatting back and forth on Facebook about kind of like career stuff for me, and she recommended that I read Ms. LaPorte's book, but while I was trying to decide if this was the right book for me and if I should buy it, I went and I found some of her YouTube videos that I was watching, and one thing that she talked about, it was a very brief video, if I remember I'll link it. She talked about identifying the thing or things that you're really interested in, and though it's like the thing that you can talk about for hours, like over and over and over again, that like that thing that just is really like it's a really consuming interest. And I have friends that like I can just think that like I know what they are. It's like I have a friend who is an ultra runner, and ultra marathons are her thing, and that's like, she can talk about it and write about it like for hours on end. She runs ultra marathons all the time. And I have friends who are artists, and they can talk about their work for hours on end. I think as I've been I sat down and just sort of thought about like what is something like that for me, and what I landed on that kind of, I think, to me sounds silly, but it really is. It seems like it really matches what the description of this was, real estate. I can talk. I'm like fascinated with houses and apartments and office towers and parking structures and taxation, and it's like that is sort of it's really weird. It's like I don't actually have a lot of people I can talk about it with, but it's something that like I spend a lot of time thinking about. I love houses. I pore over books of floor plans and house design and decorating and gardening, and like that is, and I troll over like the real estate listings online all the time. So I'm not making any decisions about this right at the moment, but I did decide that this fall I'm going to go to my local community college and I'm going to take their real estate course. It meets on Saturdays for like 8 or 10 weeks or something like that. I figured, go take it, go do it, try it. It's like take the course, maybe get licensed, see if I'm interested, see if it is something like maybe real estate sales might not be the right thing for me, but go feel that out. Like take that as a direction. So I did write that down. That's a concrete goal for Q3 to get myself enrolled in that course, and see where it goes. I mean, it's only a few $100, so I think it's worth giving it a try. And maybe that'll open up something new. Maybe I can sort of move my career in a direction. Maybe that is something that I would really love, that I feel really passionate about doing every day, and I might be really good at it. So, anyway, so I've rambled on for over 20 minutes now, so I'll shut up now. But I have one more video, but I'm going to put in another one. So, talk soon.